Awesome. Thanks, Derek. Thank you also for everyone who's helped to make this event possible. I know how stressful it can be putting on an event as a fellow event organizer myself. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Rebecca Bush. I'm from Central Texas. And, usually at the formerly known as the Greater Reset, now the People's Reset, I'll speak about homesteading. I'm an aspiring land developer, aspiring farmer. Sometimes things work out on our homestead, sometimes they don't. I've been at that, off-grid lifestyle for over 10 years, and that's really what strikes so much passion inside of my heart and soul. But to be honest with you, for the last couple of years, I was really struggling with my health, and I didn't quite know why. Can I show you guys why I was hurting so bad for over a decade? Do I have your permission? Oh, by the way, this whole talk is going to make me feel super uncomfortable. It'll probably make you feel uncomfortable too. So let me go ahead and just share this with you. So here's why I was feeling like shit for over 10 years. Do you know what these are? You're like, what the fuck are those? Why are they yellow? So these are 275 cc saline round implants, breast implants. They're also filled with betadine. I had no idea. I had no idea that I was walking around with these sacs inside of my body, basically leaking toxins. I'm going to share with you why I chose to get these out of my body. I'm just going to throw these in the bag and get these out of here. We'll keep them on the stage, though, because last year when I came here to speak at the People's Reset, I actually shared that I was kind of in a rut, like I wasn't feeling well. And the truth is, I was in my own denial about how bad things really had gotten. So I'm going to share with you my journey of removing these foreign devices from my body, why I decided to get them put into my body in the first place. It's estimated that 4 million women in the United States have had breast implants put in. So whether you have breast implants right now, it's or not, you might be thinking, why does this speech even pertain to me? Chances are you probably know someone who does. And I feel super vulnerable sharing with you my story. And this is something that's really hard for me. But if it helps even one person to heal and feel better like I do now, then it'll all be worth it. So, all right, here we go. So I'm not the best with tech, but I think it's working. So my talk is called The Heal is Real. And I'll be going over how I overcame breast implant illness and some of the powerful detox protocols I've incorporated into my repertoire. Of course, it can take, they estimate, up to 2 years after you have these implants removed from your body to fully detox all the heavy metals and such. But I'll just, share my story and kind of how from day one, even getting them out, I immediately saw benefits. You'll see it yourself in the photos. I literally looked like I was dying before I had my explant surgery. And I'm not alone, by the way. I went down the rabbit hole of all the women who have had these implants removed, and their before and after pictures are very similar. The same story radiates. You're told that they're safe. Next thing you know, you have basically symptoms of a autoimmune disorder. And also, if you're struggling with autoimmune disorder issues, maybe some of these detox protocols will also help you. So let's hit it. Woo! Okay, so warning, I will be sharing photos from my explant surgery. If this makes you feel uncomfortable, please close your eyes. Incoming. Okay, this was me actually 6 months ago. So I got cut open. I get the reminder every day when I look in the mirror. I get to see the scars from here to here on my chest. There's like one spot where I don't have them. Just a reminder of what I did to myself, mutilating myself, all in an effort for vanity, to look better, whatever. Everybody does it for different reasons. And they're very common, like I said. 4 million women in the United States. It's estimated 40 million women worldwide have had breast implant augmentation. It's really the most popular plastic surgery out there. So I decided to explant because, all right, here's where it gets hard. When you have a lot of different health ailments popping up and you don't know why, you start to think you're like kind of crazy. And I was working on this ego development project. Many of you probably have heard of the 100-acre land development project John and I worked on extensively, not to mention we were also running multiple businesses. And honestly, when our letter of intent didn't go through and the deal fell through, and there was other stressors in our life, there's a thought that the symptoms can really express themselves with the implants, and the autoimmune disorder, the inflammation and everything can express through stress and other issues with your thyroid and stuff. So I think it was a culmination of a lot of things happening in that time of my life, but I actually ended up going to the ER. I thought I had a stroke. I lost ability to speak. I was having heart palpitations, numbness in my limbs. And that's what landed me in the emergency room, and I stayed in the hospital for 2 days. I had every single testing imaginable conducted, and the good thing was that I found out I didn't have a stroke, so that was like reassuring. But then I'm like, but then what the fuck is going on? Sorry to cuss. Like, what is happening? Why am I having all these weird symptoms? So it was kind of ironic too, because we were putting on the Exit and Build Health Summit right around the same time that I was in the ER. And I had hired this lady to help me with my social media. And I'm like, literally, I am sitting in the hospital bed, and I'm like feeling like death. I've got IVs in. They're like doing these heart scans and all sorts of stuff. And she sends me this video. Hey, Rebecca, how does this promotion reel look for the Exit and Build Health Summit? And the video is me like, I'm unstoppable. I'm a force of nature. Yeah, it's like me in my garden. I'm like looking all healthy, like picking pecans from our pecan orchard and stuff. And I remember just being like, don't post it, because I felt so inauthentic. I felt so fake. Like, here's this video that's going to get posted on my Instagram while I'm literally laying in the hospital, like thinking that I might have just had a stroke. Like, I was feeling so much shame, so much guilt. And so the truth is, I was for many years going through a lot of these different symptoms, and I just honestly didn't know why. And it got to a point where I was really just pretty confused. But let's get into why I did this in the first place. So when I was like, younger, I would get made fun of for being flat. And I think a lot of women have a lot of beauty expectations exerted upon them within the central, the media, and within all these centralized institutions. There's a lot of expectations for perfection, and, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Yay, I love my body now. But back then I was like 19, and I was determined to not get made fun of anymore, determined to look the way I thought I needed to look, to be more feminine, more beautiful, what have you. So this was me. I don't know how to make the slides any bigger, but you can probably see how flat I was. I was still kind of am an athlete. I was a collegiate cheerleader. I traveled all over the place. I was paid to perform at indoor football games. I was paid to teach cheerleading all over the United States and travel to different cheerleading camps and teach choreography and stuff. So I was like in it to win it when it came to, my dedication to athletics. And when you're an athlete, you just don't have a lot of fat. Like, I was, looking very not voluptuous in that regard. So there was a show on the TV called The Swan, where women would go in and they were like ugly ducklings, and then they would get like 5 million different plastic surgeries. They'd come out and they'd do their great reveal. 6 months later, new nose, breast implants, butt implants, liposuction. You can imagine all the different crazy surgeries. And now, after all those surgeries, now they're a swan. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that was on TV in 2011 when I decided to get this breast procedure. Like, one procedure just didn't seem like that big of a deal to me. So anyway, long story short, I wanted to be a swan. So I was like, let's do it. So I saved up money, sold my car. I got the breast implants done before I moved to Texas. And I want to show you something, because this is really the mutilation that occurs when you get the implants done. Sorry, guys, I do not know why it keeps going to a smaller thing. I don't know if the photos are hard to see, but I was only 19, so I think like a lot of this was just me being kind of naive and not doing a lot of research, but also like back then we were told it was safe. So looking back at this before and after photo, now I look at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks like really bad, actually, the after picture, but that was considered beautiful then. But now that I look back at this photo, what I noticed, look at my arms. this was only like the photo before was like the day before the surgery. And then look at the couple days after, look how inflamed my arms are, how pink my skin is. I just immediately had this inflammatory response. I didn't even see it back then until just recently. I went to look for my before and after pictures and was like, dang, that's so weird. Like my arms were like 2 times the size. What the heck? So your body recognizes these as foreign objects and starts to like fight them, like, what's going on? Blah. And next thing you know, you have a lot of issues with your health. So I got them done in 2011. By 2015, my back pain was so bad, I actually went into something that I call spine rehab. I was getting adjusted 3 days a week. I mean, I'm talking pain that was so bad that it hurt to like exist, which only got worse further down the road. But a few of the other symptoms that I personally experienced, and there's, from my understanding, 120 known symptoms that women suffering from breast implant illness have reported, which is, common experiences, but these were the worst for me. Fatigue. I was always tired. It was so hard to wake up in the morning. I was probably only like 24 years old too in 2015 when all this symptoms really started, because the longer they're in, the more the symptoms can begin to express themselves, the more the heavy metals leach out and all the saline shell starts to break down, and that whole situation. So the fibromyalgia and rheumatoid arthritis symptoms, I was never diagnosed with fibromyalgia, but just to explain kind of how it felt, with what most people might understand for that health condition. Muscle pain, swelling. I had a chronic metallic taste in my mouth. By the way, it's not normal to have betadine in implants. That was outlawed in the early 2000s. I got mine done in 2011. Why were there betadine in my implants? I was never told that he was adding betadine to my implants. In fact, I reached out to the surgeon after the surgery and I said, why are my implants yellow? And I just played dumb. And he said, it appears that betadine may be on the outside of the shell. I said, no, clearly. And I sent a picture to the surgeon. And it was weird how fast he responded too. Usually there's like a receptionist who you talk to. He was quick to respond to me. So he must be, having a lot of women who are complaining about this. And I said, no, very clearly it's in the liquid. What could cause this? And it was, well, it's possible that upon insertion, when the saline was put in, that some of it leaked in. And I'm like, well, then why are they perfectly proportionate? Like, it just doesn't make sense. And he's like, are you struggling with breast implant illness symptoms? So like something fishy's going on there, in my opinion. I believe, in my opinion, that he did intentionally add it. And it was thought because the saline can begin to have mold and bacteria grow. So the betadine's added because it's supposed to prevent that. However, it's actually like an industrial cleaning supply product or iodine or something crazy like that. So I was walking around for over 10 years with this inside of my body. No wonder I had metallic taste in my mouth all the time. Whew. Anyway, side tangent. I also had anxiety. Well, I still kind of do, but don't we all? Brain fog to the point that I was prescribed Adderall, which is a narcotic, basically, like meth, kind of like legal version of meth, amphetamine salt. And I was taking Adderall for almost 10 years for my ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder. The second I got the implants out, I felt much more clear mentally. And it's been so weird. I wasn't able to read books. Like, I couldn't read a book and just read. I would like think about all sorts of other stuff. After the surgery, I read my first book in like over 13 years. Like, that was a good feeling. But yeah, concentration issues, etc. So okay. All right. This was the book that I received. So the spine rehab that I went through wasn't just adjustments. It was also diet-based and regarding like your physical health and what you put into your body. So I was trying to feel better. I just didn't know that it was the implants causing so much of the issues. So I was excited to, I wanted to wake up in the morning and have energy. Like, I wanted to feel good, So I committed to this program. I noticed a difference immensely when I changed my diet to the paleo diet, because I do believe, like, I would eat a piece of bread and immediately I could feel the pain like in my wrists. Like, my diet was definitely, the inflammation was like an immediate response. But so these sort of things definitely helped me manage my symptoms. And That was back in 2014, but at that same time, I started working in the natural products industry, and I was learning so much about all these different healing modalities and products and supplementation and diets that you can, work through. I was selling this product. I helped grow it from a farmer's market brand into a multi-million-dollar corporation. I helped them get into international distribution on multiple continents, as well as key accounts such as CVS Pharmacy, Bed Bath & Beyond, Target, you name it. And so to say that I was pouring my heart and soul into this company would be an understatement. And the truth is, you can't pour from an empty cup. So despite the fact that I was going to all these trade shows regarding health and natural products, I had never felt sicker in my life. And to make matters worse, when you're traveling constantly, going on one flight to the next, you're meeting with a distributor, and then you're on your very next flight to another trade show, and then you're pitching and doing this product presentation here. I mean, my health really, really began to become a problem for me as I worked with this company for almost half a decade. And it was just ironic because it was supposed to be a holistic health movement, but I was feeling so sick. Gosh, I keep messing this up. Okay, so it's not always about what you are adding. Like when people think about detoxing, I think the first thing maybe that comes to mind is like, I need to juice, or I need to go, do these different supplements. Honestly, what I realized was I needed to start subtracting things, because the more that I was working with that company, the more stress I had, the more that I started to rely on substances. Like my Adderall addiction got so bad that I would wake up at like 5 a.m. for a flight, pop an Adderall, get to the airport, drink a cranberry vodka cocktail, be on the flight to my meeting presentation. And it was like this horrible spiral of just feeling like crap and taking all these things. So I just had to get all that out of my life. And it really, at a certain point, I just couldn't even wake up in the morning. Like my body was completely breaking down. And at this point as well, like I said, I think I was like 24 years old. None of it made sense. But I thought the reason I had the bad back pain was because I did cheerleading. And I thought the reason I couldn't wake up in the morning was because I was drinking so much and was taking Adderall and stuff like that. So again, like I just was kind of I never in a million years thought it was the implants causing so many of the health issues. And yeah, it's kind of just spiraled out of control. And I was asked by the company, like, you need to just be here at a certain time, because it was so bad. I would like sometimes roll into the office at like noon, like when I was there and wasn't traveling. And they're like, hey, rock star, deal closer, you're not more special than everyone else. You need to get here at 9. And I literally couldn't. Like I couldn't get out of bed. It got that bad. And that was in 2018. So you're fired. So I got fired. I mean, wow, what a blow to the ego. I couldn't believe it. Like I had poured so much of my heart and soul into this company, and then I was just let go so abruptly. But honestly, it was a blessing in disguise, because when I was let go from that company, it opened me up energetically to begin the process of healing. And what I did was I moved to Mexico with John and the kiddos, and I began a sabbatical. A 6-month, get off Adderall, stop drinking, focus on me. There were moments where I would drink here and there, and I wasn't like, super committed to it immediately when we moved there. But compared to how my lifestyle was, this was like a breath of fresh air, living near the beach, being able to do yoga. So that's what I did. I started going to yoga classes. I started to explore healing modalities. I went and did my very first Temescal, which is like, if you've never done one of those, it's like a sweat lodge. And when you go in, you're like in the steam, and it's so freaking hot, and you feel like you're dying. But then you're like sweating and sweating and sweating, which is one of the ways to detox. But when you're able to get out and you're crawling out, it literally feels like you're like crawling out of your mother's womb. Like you're just so reborn, like a whole new version of you. Like everything's been sweated. You're just like, yeah, liberated in that way, emotionally, spiritually. So that was really cool and an eye-opener for me physically, emotionally, etc. I was just trying everything, throwing anything at the wall, see what would stick at that point. We tried the keto diet. That was great. Again, the anti-inflammation from that diet, like I'm not saying that's what everyone should do, but because I had the implants, like literally if I would eat carbs or sugar, or even drinking alcohol, anything, I immediately felt the pain in my body, and it was very apparent that I needed to be super vigilant regarding what I put into my body, or else it was obvious those flare-ups would occur. And then I tried something called ayahuasca for the very first time. And when I took ayahuasca, it really helped me see things from a different perspective, to heal, to kind of let go go and start fresh and begin this new, path for my life. And shortly after, probably took about a year, but I actually fully integrated the lessons, and I went 4 years with no alcohol or no cigarettes or anything. So I definitely think that, this 6-month sabbatical I had never invested in myself, I never in my life. I was always go, 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 go. So this whole experience really helped me to learn about detoxing and get into a deeper understanding of how I could, heal myself. And when I came back from the sabbatical, I started another job. I was helping at an agri-hood selling tiny homes. It was surrounding a certified organic farm. So again, I was passionate about, produce and growing your own food, because when I ate foods like that, I just felt better. So in a way, the implants were kind of a blessing, because it forced me to learn about a bunch of stuff I otherwise might not have had the necessity to dive so deep down the rabbit hole on. But despite years of eliminating bad habits, eating healthy, really, working a very fulfilling job. I loved my job at Village Farm. I loved my neighbors. We lived there with the kids. We had our own tiny home. It was a great setup. I loved the farmers. I even loved the, land developers that I was working for. I was kind of in the middle of everything, and I was like the orchestra, the composer, helping to move everything through energetically. But it got to a point where I just couldn't work full time anymore. That's how sick I was. So I told them, look, I can do, maybe 10 hours a week. And mind you, I was working usually from 8 a.m. till 10 p.m. Residents would message me all sorts. The dog poop problem, this dog park is out of control, or my mail packages didn't come to the all sorts of weird stuff I'd get messaged about. So I was working all the time, but my body totally broke down at that point. And this was 2021. And I was trying to keep up with the same pace, and I just couldn't do it anymore. But I was really sick. And the hard thing was that I got this messaging of you always think there's something wrong with you, but there was all these weird things happening that were wrong with me, that I'm but I'm young, and so why am I struggling with this? And none of it made sense. And then you start to think you're crazy. And it got to a point as well where I was having irritable bowel syndrome symptoms, and literally my hair started falling out in clumps. I had to get hair extensions because I was bald in multiple spots. I'd be pulling, my hair would just fall out. This was now probably over 10 years of having the implants. So I'd like to really zoom in on this one. There we go. The weird thing, though, is that John was telling me all along about this breast implant illness stuff. I just didn't want to hear it. He would say, you need to go get your breast implants out. I heard you shouldn't have them for more than 10 years. I'm yeah, whatever. Who cares? Blah, blah, blah. And this is him sending me, because he would verbally tell me this kind of stuff, but I actually have evidence of him sending this to me in 2023. And he says, hey, here's an interesting post I'm reading about breast implant illness. So basically, the detected heavy metals in implant shell and or gel are a long list, but these are the worst: aluminum, tin, platinum, nickel, chromium. The list goes on and on, of all the heavy metals. Ingredients in the shell and silicone gel in the implants: methyl ethyl ketone neurotoxin, cyclobexanone neurotoxin. Again, this shit's crazy. I was never told this when they got put into my body, but even when they were in my body, I didn't want to hear it, because hearing it meant that I did this to myself, and I wasn't willing to accept that at that point. I liked my implants, I liked the way I looked, and the last thing I wanted to do was not, that's all I had known for my whole adult life, was the way I looked with them. The idea of not having them wasn't even something I was willing to think about. So then he says this message, they're crippled with, hold on. So I can't read this very well. They have no zest for life anymore. Every little chore feels like a mountain to climb. They don't feel like living anymore because there's no cure or answers for their ailments. Their children, family, and friends wonder what has happened to the happy, energetic, thriving mom/woman she once was. I'm speaking on behalf of the drug-free, responsible woman who takes care of herself and her family, who eats healthy and keeps active, who tries to cure her ailments by means of detoxification, supplements, expensive tests, out-of-network specialists, but to no avail. Her body starts to shut down and the detoxification capabilities are halted. It's like living a slow death. In addition to all of this, the adverse effects on offspring, infertility, as well as possible miscarriages are mentioned, along with the fact that platinum is found in breast milk of women with implants. And my response to him when he sent that to me in 2023, I have saline, not silicone. It's mind-blowing. And I remember, so I was at, a year ago, it was March, not quite a year ago. I didn't even know what other than him sending me these messages, I really didn't even know what breast implant illness was. You have the chronic fatigue, joint and muscle pain, brain fog, hair loss, insomnia, symptoms of thyroid dysfunction, anxiety, skin rashes, depression, dry eyes, GI issues, you name it, okay? I was experiencing almost every single symptom listed on that list. And it wasn't until I actually attended a conference called Next Steps in Georgia. Derek spoke there, David Rodriguez, my husband John spoke there, where they had a whole panel of women speaking about their experience with breast implant illness, and me having them sitting in the crowd. Jim Gill's next to me. Oh yeah, my wife had the implants and had to get them taken out. It was something that got her so sick. The lady who organized, Tia, who also spoke at the People's Reset last year, she's led the whole thing, introduced everyone. I felt like crap when I got my implants in. It wasn't until they were removed I immediately felt better. And I'm still like listening to these women telling their stories, hearing their stories, my story, and their stories. Like I knew that what they were saying is what's happening to me, and I still wasn't wanting to accept the fact that that's why I was experiencing all these symptoms. But, it was through this conference that I really started to learn about breast implant illness. In fact, there was an amazing activist. Her name's Laura Bowden. She was on Oprah, in fact, in the 90s. So she's an OG when it comes to being an activist regarding breast implant illness. Because a lot of this is still kind of, the word is not really fully out. It's not even like identified as a medical condition. We call it breast implant illness, but it's not actually considered a condition. Like, a medical dictionary, whatever. So this is when the gear started to turn for me, and I really went down the rabbit hole. Laura shook me and she said, "You have to get these implants out before you have a baby." Little did I know that I was actually pregnant while she was shaking me. And 2 weeks later, I was like, well, I can't get the explant surgery now, even though I kind of started to accept the fact that that's what was happening to me. And 2 weeks later, I actually suffered a miscarriage. And that was really hard. And when that happened, honestly, I knew what I needed to do. I knew that I needed to get these things out of my body. And so the rest is history. So I talked with Laura, I found the right surgeon, and honestly, for the first time in so many years, I felt like I had hope, like there was light, like at the end of the tunnel. So, this is me getting them out. So there's like actually a scar capsule. It's so gross. You can kind of see what that looks like. It looks like a scab all the way around the implants here. They were covered in a scab. So you cut it and it's all calcified. And like almost every single woman has this, by the way, who has implants. So if you are looking into this explant procedure, ensure that, or if your friends have implants and you're trying to help them, make sure they get it's called an encapsulectomy, that they get the scar capsule removed, not just the implant. Because a lot of surgeons don't believe in breast implant illness. So they'll take the implant out for you, but they don't have training to actually take the whole scar capsule out. So that's super important because all those heavy metals leach into that scar capsule. So if it's left in your body, you're not going to feel better. And I've been producing content. By the way, I never thought that I would be talking about breast implant illness. Like, this is just not something I saw in my life path. But now I've been producing content to spread the word. Immediately when I posted my first YouTube video, my real estate agent contacted me and said, "I just saw your video. I'm booking my appointment. I've had these implants for 40 years. I feel like crap. I'm going to go do this. Thank you for informing me that this is even a thing." When I spoke in England about breast implant illness just a few months ago, I had never had more people come up to me after a speech than that speech. I think 15 different groups of people came up to me and said, "Thank you so much for sharing. I don't have implants, but my sister does, and I'm going to tell her about this. And she has a lot of these health conditions, or my cousin does, or my friend does." And the very last person who came up to me, which wasn't right after the talk, but it was later in the day, so I think she was like working up the nerve, she said, "I have implants, and I've been dying to get them out. I just don't know what to do." I need guidance. And so these opportunities to share can be very scary, but it can also be very helpful because it provides that hope, that light at the end of the tunnel, to know that there could be an end in sight. So anyway, I did my surgery in July, and this was literally, guys, like every day I had purple bags under my eyes. This is the very next day after surgery, poof, purple bags gone. You can see this for yourself. Like, I'm not making this up. You can't make this up. Like, it's unbelievable. And there's so many other testimonials and stories, thousands. You can go look on YouTube, thousands of women who have shared about their explant journey and how much better they feel. So please help me spread the word. Please help me get the message out, because I know how much better I feel, and if it can help other women, then that is fabulous. I don't know if I mentioned this, but it got to a point too with my back pain, because by the way, my implants were under the muscle, so they had adhered to my rib cage. They had to cauterize them off of my rib cage. It was a very long process healing after the surgery. It hurts to move my arm back. My spine literally felt like broken glass before the surgery. And when the very next day after the surgery, that sensation, which had tortured me for years, poof, vanished, gone. Literally, I felt better the very next day. I couldn't believe it. So anyway, that's just what the scar capsule looks like. They cut you open. That's how they cauterize it off the yellow part that you see there. So it's firmly attached to multiple ribs on both sides. So all that being said, getting them out is like the first part, and then you have to detox. So I'm just going to breeze through these. You can detox by getting things out through your poo-poo, through your urine, through your sweat, aka your skin. So let's just go into a few of the things that I've tried now, which I don't know if you guys have ever heard of colonics, but hello, that was very interesting. It cleans out your large intestine. So they put water up there, and then you kind of just lay there for 45 minutes, and it all starts to fall out. And so anyway, try that if you're interested in detoxing. There's 150-ish lymph nodes in the colon. So wow, I had no idea. Again, I'm learning as I'm trying to detox, and you also have to make sure you're taking good probiotics when you're doing the colonics. There's also products that are easier to take, like bentonite clay. The Inno Cleanse has that in it. Colon Broom has like psyllium husk, and that can help get it out of your small intestine, from what I understand. Obviously, juicing, electrolytes, hydration. So I really like this pink coconut water. There's lots of benefits. Ozonated water. You can get an ozone machine. There's also, you can go schedule an appointment if you don't want to buy the ozone machine. You can look it up if you're interested. You can sweat it out. I started going to the infrared sauna at HotWorks because that was the lowest hanging fruit closest to my house, and I've been feeling really nice. I just had my very first lymphatic drainage massage. Game changer. They said to get at least 10 of them after some major surgery because this toxins can get trapped in your lymph nodes. But there's other ways to drain your lymph nodes. And then your cosmetic products, your deodorant, think about the shampoo you use. All these things you're putting on yourself topically, just making sure those are clean. So all in all, this is a life update I posted, and so many people commented, whoa, you look so much better. Your complexion looks so different. So I just want to say, the heal is real. Like, if you're willing to commit and, try these different detox protocols, whether you have implants or not, in a way, I feel like I, really gained a lot in my health just by having to go do the colonics and go drink the ozonated water and have the infrared sauna and doing these lymphatic drainage massages. It's been great all around. So one last thing too, like the importance of forgiveness in recovering from trauma and past mistakes. Like, it's so easy to cling to the past. It's easy to play the victim. Like, I'm not interested in any of that. This is not a victim story. This is a redemption story. And all of us have the power to redeem our health, to take steps to be the best version of ourselves. And I'll just leave you with that. So thanks, y'all, for listening.
Yes, make some noise for Rebecca Bush, everybody.